Okay, so hi everyone, and thank you for joining this webinar. My name is Jean-Philippe Olignac. I'm the head of sales at FIM. I'm in charge of the Europe, Middle East, and Africa region. Today, our experts will present you with some important information and updates from some of the major payment schemes regarding their latest mandates and trends. We will also present you with the potential impacts of such mandates on your payment systems from both acquiring but also issuing perspectives. And we will ultimately see how at FIM we are supporting our clients to speed up their time to market, to improve their quality, and also to stay well up to date in a continually moving payment industry. Before we start with the next presentation, let me just do a quick reminder about FIM. FIM is an independent and accredited quality assurance test lab for payment projects and specialized in EMV technology. We are physically present in 20 locations worldwide, and we work with the entire payment vertical. So we work with the payment solution providers, with the banks, with the issuers, acquirers, processors, but also we are working very closely with some of the major international payment schemes, but also domestic schemes. And we service more than 3,000 banks worldwide. On top of the certification services, we also provide consultancy, training support, and we are a leading provider of accredited test tools, which helps our customers to speed up their testing and validation processes. We operate in different payment areas such as EMV cards, NFC mobile, cloud-based payments, OEM pays, EMV QR code, Nexo, 3DS, issuer host testing, and in Europe we are instrumental in PSD2 deployment. During the next set of presentations, you will have the possibility to ask any question you have by written, just by using the webinar platform. For the sake of a smooth presentation, our team will treat them live, and we will answer to them at the end during the Q&A session. If you have any unanswered or additional questions after the webinar, you can obviously use our generic email address that Linda will communicate you after the webinar. Good. Now I let the floor to our head of marketing, Reza, for an update about the latest schemes mandates. Thank you. Reza, mic is yours.
Thank you very much, Jean-Philippe. So first of all, welcome to Banks Are You Ready webinar. As Jean-Philippe was mentioning, my name is Reza Ramanifar. I'm heading the product service and marketing management at FIM. I'm looking forward today talking with you about the Visa, specifically Visa, MasterCard, and American Express contactless mandates. First, I'm going to present Visa terminal card contactless and terminal contactless mandates. So, as you can see on this slide, Visa is definitely betting on contactless migration and would like to see a wave of contactless proximity payments starting in 2018. Precisely after October 13, 2018, all new acceptance terminal or existing terminal that are upgraded after this date in Europe, Middle East, and Africa must have EMV chip and contactless enabled in. Except for MPOS form factor, integrated fuel dispenser, and electronic cash dispensers, and electronic cash registers, and automated teller machine. After October 2021, all new mobile POS, EFD, ECR, and ATM device deployed in Europe, Middle East, and Africa must have EMV chip, Visa EMV chip, and contactless technology enabled. And by April 2023, all post-merchant terminal newly and already deployed in the field, of course, excluding the MPOS form factor, IFD, ECR, and ATM in the EMEA region, must be Visa EMV chip and contactless enabled. Ultimate goal and the quest of accelerating the terminal contactless transaction, by April 2025, all merchant terminals, including autonomous POS, MPOS, ECR, and ATM already deployed in the field, and new device must be Visa EMV chip and contactless technology enabled. So on the card side, we can see that on the right side of the slides, Visa mandates a new banks issued in the field to be contactless enabled, except for non-reloadable prepaid cards. So the next thing that I will share with you is the MasterCard contactless card and terminal mandates roadmap. So MasterCard has a bit more aggressive contactless mandate compared to Visa for merchant terminal. As you can see, after October 2018, all new acceptance terminals or existing terminals that are upgraded in Europe, Middle East, Africa, will have EMV chip and contactless technology enabled, except for mobile POS form factor, integrated POS terminal, and integrated POS terminal in the LAC region. It will be followed by a mandate on October 2019 for all new deployed mobile POS devices on top of the standard POS terminal. And by April 2023, all merchant terminals in the EMEA region will have EMV chip, MasterCard EMV chip, and contactless technology enabled, except for the APAC region. On the card side, after April 2019, all new cards issued in the EMEA will have MasterCard EMV chip and contactless technology enabled. So in the next section, I will show you the contactless mandates roadmap for American Express schemes. So American Express contactless mandates roadmap is as ambitious as MasterCard contactless roadmap. I mean, after October 2018, all new acceptance terminals and existing terminals that are upgraded in the EMEA will have Amex EMV chip and contactless technology enabled, except for ATM and POS terminal devices deployed in the Caribbean countries. And by April 2023, all merchant terminals in the EMEA region must have Amex EMV chip and the contactless technology enabled, except some countries in the APAC region, has mentioned here, Australia and the New Zealand. On the card side, it's pretty aligned on MasterCard mandates. All Amex EMV card issuers must ensure that new and replaced EMV card will be issued with IEIPS and ExpressPay contactless application of Amex, except in the Caribbean region. So this is the end of the contactless mandate roadmap presentation, and I will shortly introduce the different challenges to overcome and what will be your offer.
So, all right. Thank you, Reza. So I will be now showing you the issuing support that we offer here at FIM. Let me just remind you that question will be answered, but just bear in mind that we will try to answer them at the end of the presentation. So just write them down on the chat and we will make sure to reply. So what are the services that we offer to issuer? Well, we have divided our offer in 4 topics, going from pre-certification to certification, deployment, and of course, our consulting offers. We have divided them this way to be able to accompany you at the fullest, starting from understanding EMV principles, to being able to select the appropriate profile for your needs. Of course, being able to succeeding in the desired certification, all the way to ensuring a smooth deployment of your payment devices. We have a fourth offer, which is the consulting, which is there to propose a way for you to prepare your new evolution and to prepare for the new mandates that, for example, have been presented earlier. Or another offer that we make is to go deeper in any of the three previous topics. So if you want a customized offer on any of the already available topics, you can, of course, ask for our consulting services. So the first topic we are going to talk about is pre-certification and what we call card profile definition. This is a service which can be very useful when an issuer is facing the main challenges of defining a profile, to note knowing the specification themselves, either EMV or payment specific, selecting the combination that meets your needs, and of course selecting a profile which works in the environment it will be deployed in. So in the midst of the thousands of possible combination, you have to work in conjunction with every party involved to have the best profile suited for you. So how does this service work? Well, at first we will assess your business requirement. We will talk about your preferences, the app you want to deploy, and the interface you want to use for your devices. In a second phase, we will select with you and accompany you in defining the profile itself. So be it based on your requirement and payment network specification. And of course, a profile that works in its deployment environment. And at the end of the service, if you requested, we will also pre-validate the profile using our qualified PVT tool. PVT stands for Personalization Validation Tool, which is called Perceval Pro. So the second topic is our certification activity, which is one of our core activity here at FIM. Today, we are an accredited lab that can deliver certification of many domestic and international payment schemes. Some example can be MasterCard, Discover, UnionPay, GCB for the international schemes. And here in Europe, we are also accredited for domestic schemes as CB in France or TROI in Turkey. But of course, one of our goals is to continue developing our offer. So if you have a specific scheme which is not covered by our offer currently, we will gladly hear your proposal and work with you, try to work with you to be able to include it in our offer. So one of our way of working is that we are a global organization. We have currently 6 locations worldwide that are able to deliver issuing certification. This can benefit you a lot because when dealing with sensitive data and devices, it is always best to have local customer service, local technical support, and of course local consultant to best accompany you, and sometimes even speaking your own language. As you can see, many languages are spoken here at FIM. So the third topic that I am going to address is the deployment. We have today two services available. The first one being live testing. So live testing is an end-to-end validation of your payment ecosystem. The testing is performed in a controlled environment. So this means one of our labs. And the testing consists in performing all kinds of operation using live payment devices and live POSes. So the POS is connected to your acquiring network, and the device is a live device using live cryptographic technologies. So from our end, we will see that the device behaves as it is supposed to. And of course, on your backend system, you can always verify what is going on and analyze and or debug any problem or issue that can appear. This offer, as I said, is performed in a controlled environment. So we are talking about lab, and here as well, we can propose many lab worldwide to deliver the services. Each lab has a secure room with a safe. We have our own POS. We have our own devices, and of course, our engineer on the site to be able to deliver in the safest way possible and in a way that best suits your need. The second service in our deployment topic is the field testing. The field testing is aimed at payment scheme acquirers, issuers, and merchants who would want to be confident before deploying their new payment device that the device works correctly in the field. This is, of course, needed to guarantee a smooth customer experience. So two ways of doing this. The first option is by performing live transaction on the field at real merchants, where our trained testers will do either visual checks and or log traces to be able to analyze. Or the other way that this service can be delivered is that you gather all the logs and all the testing, and we analyze the logs themselves. So finally, the last topic we will cover is on this issuing presentation is our consulting services. I will start by showing you one of our available service, which is called Issuer Host Testing. This is a fraud evaluation testing, which is performed because which can benefit you because today the fraud structure and policies constantly evolve. So this means that you have to constantly upgrade your system and improve your fraud management capabilities. And this is all aiming at having an authorization system which is tested and compliant with your needs. So how can we help you on that? Well, we will give you at your disposal our expertise via our FIM experts, which understand and can develop a prevention strategy using either our current testing plans or customized testing plans on our specific tools. But so other than this specific service, Issuer Host Testing, we also offer an entire expertise center. These expertise centers can it is there to bring practical knowledge to support you, practical knowledge, but also project management skill to coordinate either internally or externally any of your migration and or upgrading of any of your system, be it an EMV migration or a digital payment migration. We make sure to be very flexible, either cost-wise or tool-wise on your need, to be able to best suit your any need, be it a workshop or training or consultancy, remotely or on site in your premises. So finally, just to talk really quickly about our testing solution for issuers, which is one of the widest coverage in terms of payment scheme. So the solution is called Perceval Pro. Perceval Pro is a platform on which you will add any library which you are interested in, be it a global scheme or domestic scheme. So you can customize by adding or removing any of the libraries as you wish, to be instantly able to validate your payment devices on your premises as you wish. So thank you for your time. Now I will leave the presentation to my colleague Joe Santana, which will talk about the acquiring support that we offer here at FIM.
Hi, Joe. This is Jean-Philippe speaking. We can't hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, hi, Joe.
Hello.
Yeah,
You can hear me now?
Yeah, that's fine. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, mic is yours. Cheers.
Thank you. Apologies. And thank you very much, Jean-Philippe and Mario. As Mario mentioned previously, I'll now be covering the acquirer side of things. And as has been said before, please feel free to ask any questions that you may have using the chat function provided via the webinar platform. So now we'll move on to the acquirer services. And with over 16 years of experience in EMV migrations, FIM has developed an extensive set of skills that cover all the areas in an EMV migration. So this is done to ensure that your migration is achieved in the best manner possible. And as you can see on the slide in front of you, this covers the whole timeline of a typical deployment project. So when we look at the initial part of your EMV migration, this would look at things like your business requirements. So FIM has the ability and the skill set to have experts who can provide you with analysis of what your business requirements would be, in line from a technical perspective, as well as your operational needs, to be in line with the brand and scheme specific requirements. We can provide you with assistance in trainings, and this can be based on the contactless specifications, also of course on the contact side, but again, one of the biggest and most popular in technologies at the moment are the cloud-based and giant pay platforms. So Veeam has extensive knowledge in those areas. Moving on through the timeline, we also provide assistance with workshops, trainings. I know my colleague will talk a lot more in depth about that at the end of this presentation, but we can also create bespoke training schemes for you. So if you have the need to create your own testing environment, test lab, or if it's more in line with the brand certification requirements, we can cater for all of your needs. Also, looking at the test tools, Veeam also has a host of officially qualified by all the major brands tools that can be used for host, for level certification, level 3 certifications, and can also assist when deploying your devices in the live environment to ensure that they are working correctly. From a certifications perspective, we are service providers to some of the major schemes that exist. Visa, MasterCard, Diners, which comes under the Discover umbrella. We are also accredited consultants and qualified to provide consultancy and guidance and certification for all the other brands, including Amex, and of course some of the domestic schemes that there are within the EMEA region. And we'll look at those in slides that are coming up. Along with the testing and certification phase, we also have the ability to provide you with certification services as service providers, so that we can take on board your testing results. We can do a formal certification analysis and provide you with the feedback and results of those certification results, so that you can complete your L3 certifications. And then finally, we have also services that have been developed around field testing and live deployment testing, where we can go and perform mystery shopping. We can provide live field testing. So once you've gone from a test environment and you deploy into your field, your live field, we also have services that can test and analyze to ensure that those solutions are working as they should do in the live environment. So as I mentioned before, we are multi-brand. We support all the major brands, as you can see on the screen in front of you. The major brands, Visa, Discover, MasterCard, and then some of the domestic schemes, such as Troy, RuPay, that my colleague Mario on the issuer side has also mentioned. We also support those on the acquirer side. And it's important to understand that the multi-brandness of Veeam is supported through all of our stuff. So we have people that came from the acquiring world, terminal vendors, processors, from brands, schemes to software engineers. So it's a variety of skills and knowledge that gives us the ability to be able to provide this kind of support throughout your acquiring needs. Looking at the L3 services that we have for acquirers, as you can see, we have contact and contactless certifications that we can provide for you on a service provider model. We also provide dual interface certifications, and a key note here is that Veeam has always been looking at changing our way of doing things in line with the way that brands have adapted themselves. So by doing that, we've been able to reduce our SLAs. So these are the new SLAs that we can provide. As you can see, for contact or contactless certifications, those have now been reduced to 3 days, no matter what terminal type. And then for a dual interface certification, that has been reduced to 4 days. In line with that, we are also announcing our new pricing for these services, and the sales team will be able to provide you with more information on that after this webinar. Additionally, we also provide technical support in terms of 3 services that you can see in front of you. So we provide the ability to go on site and have a consultant go to your premises to test, to do all the functions that you would have to do using our own tool sets, and to provide you with that expertise at your premises. We offer the ability to provide an off-site service, and this is where you have a POS terminal. You then have that terminal sent to a theme premises, and we test that in-house. So we have secure locations where we have, again, all the tools, all the expertise, and we can provide a certification service based in an off-site mode. And then finally, we have the remote service. And this is where a consultant can provide you with remote support. You perform the testing, you have the tools, but you don't have maybe the EMV knowledge that is required to ascertain whether your testing has passed or not. So all these services work really well, and they're really flexible. So it is really which one fits your needs is available to you. We also have a high priority service for the turnaround of your testing results. So this was designed to cater for projects where you may have a tight deadline and you need to have a project completed as soon as possible. So as you can see on the slide in front of you, it's really designed for people who are in maybe a very tight situation where they need to complete as soon as possible. We do a fast turnaround of your test results, and the benefits are very straightforward. It means that you can get your results back to you as soon as possible. You can maybe change or fix any results that don't meet the pass criteria, and then it means that the transition from test to live deployment hopefully is done a lot faster. As with the issuing side, on the acquiring side, we also have tools. We have a suite of tools, and we believe they are some of the best tools that are available in the market for your certification needs. Now, this is based on the Savvy test platform. So Savvy is an automated test tool. It's used to initiate your certifications, to create your test plans, to guide you through your testing, providing you with test objectives, user actions, and all the steps that you need to carry out. The tool is able to analyze your card and issuer host logs. It will provide you with analysis based on that pass criteria for each of those tests, and then it will give you a test plan evaluation. So it gives you a verdict on each of the test cases and tells you whether it's a pass or a fail. At the end of this, it will provide you with the updated scheme reports so that you can then provide that to your service provider, or you can upload that to any of the brand testing portals that may be applicable. Now, Theme have physical test cards, we have programmable cards, and we have emulation test media. So it really gives you flexibility, and you choose what is best for your preferences. So the tools work extremely well. They work on any terminal type. So depending on the terminal type you use, you can choose and select which tool you feel is more applicable to you. And the tools also have, Theme also have designed a capture tool that is important to capture the card to terminal dialogue. So we have a tool called SmartSpy and Contactless SmartSpy that is extremely useful for your contactless migration testing, and it is fully supported by Savvy. And then once you incorporate the data that is provided from those tools, the Savvy platform can then continue with the analysis of that data. Now, along with the Savvy platform, we also have the Savvy Test Host, which complements the Savvy Test platform and is used to mimic the issuer hosts that are involved in many of the brand certifications. So the Savvy Test platform, so Savvy connected with the Savvy Test Host will simulate and provide auth responses to the incoming authorization request messages that would be triggered by your terminal and then sent through from your host. So it gives you a full breadth of being able to test the full line of the transaction and capture both the card logs at the Savvy Test platform state all the way through to the Savvy Test Host simulation part, where a simulator host can be produced that can be fed into the tool and give you a full analysis of that data. As you can see on this slide, you can see that the tool covers all the brands, so all the global schemes are covered. We also have some domestic schemes that have been developed, and we are always looking to increase that and add more domestic schemes as we have projects that are required. The Savvy Test Host also covers all the major international brands, and we have some domestic support as well. And then the test cards, as you see there, we also have the ability to provide, as I mentioned before, the physical test cards as well as some domestic ones. Theme also have some ad hoc requests to produce customized on-demand test cards, and if that's something that draws your interest, you can also, of course, contact us, and we'll be only too happy to assist you with those requests. And now I'm going to pass you over to my colleague Jean-Philippe, who will discuss the Theme Training Center. Jean-Philippe.
Okay, thank you, Joe. So hi again, this is Jean-Philippe Polignac. I will introduce you to our Theme Training Center through the next few slides. So as you know, world is keeps changing, and as well as the payment industry, of course. It's up to us to adapt to it and to adapt to this fast-moving industry. We are all, because we are precisely all facing multiple challenges with payment, with the payment industries, such as newcomers joining our companies, new technologies or mandates arising in the market, new usages coming in like payment mobile. And because we all know that it's not easy to remain the leader of one market, we decided to launch our Training and Excellence Center at Theme, and also for customers. So if we, in terms of content, our catalog is today covering the main standards from various payment authority and payment schemes, but we are also covering trainings about new technologies that are emerging on the market. And we regularly develop new trainings to respond to our customer needs. The latest example is a new training that we issued about QR code ecosystem. Another one is a training that we are preparing for a Nexo deployment. Nexo is a new standard for mainly for the acquiring side. So obviously our trainings are are designed with different levels of difficulties. So we are having trainings for newcomers, for advanced, and we also have trainings dedicated to experts of the industry. And we address these trainings to different types of customers. So some of the trainings are designed more precisely for the payment schemes and authorities. Some are designed for issuers and or acquirers. And we also have a set of trainings that are dedicated to terminal and cards vendors. Okay, now if we zoom into one program, we see that program is composed of different training sessions. So a program is a comprehensive program that will cover an entire topic. So we have divided our programs for banks into 4. So the first program is about EMV standard level 2 that will allow you to learn everything about EMV level 2 technologies for acquirers and issuers. The next one is about mobile payment and everything that you need to know if you are involved in any mobile payment project. Should it be in a GiantPay mobile wallet, QR code, HCE, cloud-based payments, etc. And the last 2 types of programs are about level 3. So level 3 is about explaining the certification processes for acquirers and also for cards that are mandatory by all the different schemes that you can see in this slide. Each training and program is coming with what we call a training kit. The training kit will include a binder, a pen, a USB key, and the slides that are printed and that are given by your trainer. At the end of each training, we will also deliver you with a certificate that proves your participation. So now if you look at the organization of our trainings, so we propose two types of trainings. The first one is what we call the open training, where you will be welcomed at our premises with other participants from other companies. This is a quite economical way of being trained, and also it's a great opportunity to exchange and to network with other participants that may have similar issues and interests as you have. Another type of training is dedicated training courses. So that applies when you need when you have some restriction or requests or requirements about confidentiality, or if you want to organize training with many different participants. In that case, we can absolutely offer you a dedicated training session which will be delivered at your premises. In that case, the FIM trainer is coming to your office, and it's more easy for you to discuss about any confidential topics with him. Also, one good thing with the dedicated training is that we are flexible on the agenda. It means that we can adapt to your questions, to your issues, and to your agenda specificities. As I mentioned earlier, our trainings are built as programs, which means that you can choose either only one training, à la carte, like we say in French, or you can choose the entire menu, meaning that a program will be composed of 1, 2, 3, or perhaps even more trainings, which are part of the same program. For example, if you if you think about organizing a session for newcomers who are joining your company, and if you need these persons to be well up to date and understand everything about EMV, then these persons will follow probably 3 trainings which are part of the EMV program in order to discover and understand everything about the EMV ecosystem, to understand the EMV contact specifications, and EMB contactless specifications. Okay, so that's the last slide of this webinar. So what we can say and see is that no matter what your needs are, look at our training catalog. You choose the best training which matches your need, and you are in great hand with FIM. So as I said earlier, so you can pick from our catalog, or if you have any specific needs, we can absolutely adapt to it and organize a dedicated session at our premises or at your premises. Okay. Good, excellent. So I think it's finished for with the presentations. Now we will start the Q&A session. I think that we have a few questions already. So I don't know, Linda, maybe you can.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you very much for all the participants. Thanks a lot for our speakers for this presentation. So we will start with the issuers' questions, and maybe we'll take the first one that we've received. So the question is about, so we are planning to migrate our current contact cards to dual interface cards to comply with the mandate. How can you support us in this migration?
Okay, so I will answer that. So of course we can provide several types of assistance, be it for example on-site or a remote workshop. We can discuss your settings and preference for the contactless application, and of course select the profile that complies with the card brand you have chosen. If you have already selected some contactless settings, we can organize a remote support to pre-validate the selected settings using our PVT tool, Perceval Pro, before you go to certification. Please note that for on-site workshop, we can additionally provide a live card analysis with our still with our Perceval Pro tool. But in all cases, we invite you to contact us so we can just at the end of the webinar, so we can arrange a call. We will gladly discuss with you your next steps and how to best accompany you. So thank you for that question.
Thank you, Mario, for these answers. Hope that it's clear in the side of our customers. So let us take another questions in issuer side. So the question is, we are going to make few changes to an existing product. Shall we go for a full certification? So
okay, yeah, okay, I'll
Mario,
answer
okay.
as well. So basically, when changing or updating your existing products, it always depends on the change that you will perform. If the change is a major change, you will require a full certification, be it, for example, your risk management or offline acceptance, or maybe a new chip, a new chip on which you will deploy your new cards. So it depends. So if the change is major, of course, a full certification is needed. If the change is more important, there are certain non-full certification that exists, and we will also gladly discuss this with you if you need our assistance in this specific case.
Thank you, Mario. Let us now move to the acquire side and take another question. So the question is acquire end-to-end services is still mandatory? Joe, could you please get some information on this and some answers? Thank you.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So in this region, when you're obviously asking about end-to-end services, I'm presuming you're talking about the MasterCard certification phase. It's not a mandatory phase anymore within this region, but we still believe that it is a very valuable and added value service that we can provide, because once you complete your L3 certification and you're in a test environment, when people then port that across into the live deployment area, there is no other way of checking to ensure that a live transaction will actually work properly and have that analyzed on live data before you have your clients actually coming to that terminal and trying to perform transactions on there. So it's very much a value-added service that we still provide, and we also do it for many of the other brands as well. So it will be phrased slightly differently, but it is still live testing that we still offer.
Thanks a lot, Joe,
Linda?
for this answer. Yeah, thank you. Let us take another question in acquire side. So the question is, can you help to perform the NIV contactless for Visa scheme?
Yes, thank you for that question also. For sure, Theme have experience in performing the host certification for all the brands. So Visa is no exception, and we are able to provide NIV contactless support if you so wish.
Thanks very much. Thank you, Joe. So now we will move maybe for one question regarding the so let us move to another and the last question that we have. So the question is also for you, Joe, for the acquiring side. What is your Savvy tool and what are the benefits?
Yeah, sure. I mean, going back to the slides and what I mentioned before, Savvy is an automated tool. So it's a piece of software that comes with a card reader. And depending on the package that you decide to opt for, you can use physical test cards. You can use programmable test cards. So these are blank cards that you use to program an instance of a test card onto that plastic, perform your test, retrieve the log, and then you can program another card, for example, on that test media. And we also have the emulation tool. So this is a paddle that is connected to the PC, and it emulates all the cards. So there is no need to program the card or take a physical card out of a catalog. You perform your testing by simply inserting the device into your POS or your ATM or if you're using a DIP reader, any type of terminal, and it will then in a batch way fire those card instances as you go through the transaction. So you have to obviously perform a transaction, but you don't need to load the media. The tool will do that itself. So it's a piece of software, and you use that to create your certification project. So if we're talking about, let's say Visa, for example, you have a built-in ICS You answer questions about what it is that you want to test, what are your requirements, and what are your capabilities of that level 2 kernel. The tool will then create a bespoke test plan that is in line with the visa requirements for that terminal type. And then it will guide you through your testing. So it will tell you, if you're using the media, which card to use, how much to perform a transaction for, and then it will actually tell you. Now, once you've completed that transaction, you answer some visual checks. Did the terminal display the correct AIDs, for example, and things to that nature. You then will be guided to replace the card back onto the card reader, and the tool will extract the card log, so the interaction between card and terminal, and it will then validate that data. That means it analyzes it, it provides you with the information in EMV terminology, or it can give you a much higher level analysis of whether the test was a pass or a fail. So the benefits are you don't have to have lots of EMV knowledge, but again, you can also have the EMV knowledge and use the tool to really simplify and speed up the process of testing, capturing the data, and ensuring that your test transactions actually meet the brand specific requirements for that testing. And of course, I only touched upon Visa, but the tool supports all the major brands. So we're looking at Discover, Diners, MasterCard, of course, American Express, and then other international brands are also covered within the tool. Back to you, Linda.
Okay, thank you very much, Joe. Thanks for all. So I will let Mr. Wolignac maybe to provide some words regarding this webinar. And of course, as he mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, you can also send other questions by email. We will respond to everyone, and maybe organize some calls with all the customers after to bring more clarification and support regarding your questions. Thanks for all.
Yeah, thank you, Linda, and thanks to all the speakers. Thank you also to the participants. I hope that you found this webinar interesting. We are slightly ahead of time, which is pretty positive. So we will close the webinar in a second. If you have, as I mentioned, any unanswered question, or if you have questions after this call, this webinar, please feel free to send us an email. Linda Tukal will send you an email just after the webinar, so you have all our contact details. So don't hesitate to contact us. We are more than happy to support you. Okay, so I think that we can close the call right now. Thank you very much again, and hope to speak to you soon. Bye.